Since we became aware of our being, we have been inundated with the idea of love, and we have conceived it as a necessary part of our lives because, apart from the manner, we all feel better when the people around us show us affection and give us signs of love. In this sense, it is important to remember that love takes on various forms, but one of the most controversial is undoubtedly that which presents itself as our life partner, as there is no bond more complex in the world of love than that of a couple. While family ties are already established and friendships have fewer implications and responsibilities, the couple stands out as a challenge for many who tirelessly seek a sign of approval for the decisions they make in this area of their lives. Everyone would like to know for certain if there is a possibility of playing it safe in this wonderful adventure that many open themselves up to living intensely. Understanding that the universe, the Creator, and our soul are in tune with the higher plan that governs our lives. Many would like to know if there really is something that reveals to us a glimpse of the role of that person whom we have encountered in our lives and our emotional development. During the development of our intellectual maturity and our concept of emotional responsibility, it is normal for us to experience negative experiences from time to time. Therefore, on many occasions we find ourselves on alert, somehow seeking to feel that there is full assurance that what we venture to feel is not destined for failure. And although love, like all other aspects of life, requires even those failures because they make us grow, you may be glad to know that the universe does listen to our desires and ends up giving important signs of the purity of that bond that you have started or are about to start. The universe is so perfect that it has chosen today to lead you here so that you may open your eyes to the precious reality that lies before you. Today, we are going to take a short walk together through those signs that the universe gives us to know that this is the famous true love. This knowledge goes hand in hand with the insights provided by the illustrious researcher Dolores who, in the midst of her exploration of the human soul and its connections, ended up contributing important premises about the links between them. So, pay close attention and let yourself be guided by this path of knowledge. Number 1. Repeated encounters. One of the first things that will powerfully capture our attention is the way in which you and that person will experience sudden encounters not coordinated by either party, as if the universe were somehow conspiring for you to see each other and for that bond between you to flourish. There is no doubt that coincidences do not exist, and everything in this plane is the result of a greater plan executed by universal and divine forces which know our destiny perfectly. Understanding all of this, you should contemplate how the universe will present the existence of this person to you as a constant message, one that cannot be erased from the other person's mind, and that speaks to the need to keep that being and the feelings we have for them in mind. Let's remember that one of the aspects that favor an effective bond is the proximity of the person, as it is capable of generating powerful feelings and fostering knowledge of the other, which is undoubtedly the basis for establishing the foundations of any relationship. But that's not all. Energetically, we will feel a powerful force subtly but firmly guiding us to those spaces that will end up being the stage for both souls to meet. In this journey, it is important to remember that when two souls do not share spaces, things become even more astonishing. As in one way or another, we end up seeing how, without understanding very well the reason, both people are called to travel through places outside their common routines. You may unknowingly find yourself walking through a park or street that you do not usually frequent, without really understanding the reasons that have led you to this place. And suddenly you realize the presence of that other person. Or you may even see how that person suddenly appears in a cafe or store that you visit frequently. And although it is normal for the person with whom we are initiating these types of bonds to be attracted to the idea of knowing those spaces you frequent, the truth is that these types of encounters go much further even happening in spaces that the other party did not know were part of your routine. When this happens, it is important to sit down and analyze whether indeed the intentions of ourselves or that person are encouraging these small encounters, or if, on the contrary, they are being powerfully dragged by higher forces, since the determining factor to appreciate this sign will undoubtedly be the will of the parties involved. And hand in hand with this other detectable symptom will be the way in which, being led to these meeting points selected by the universe, we will feel an energy coursing through our being and a sensation in the body akin to premonitions, one that speaks of a special moment in our day, as if it were the harbinger of a great event. Number 2, we feel no pressures. Calmness is integral to us. In this sense, it is important to understand that people can feel a strong sense of overwhelm when it comes to finding a partner to accompany us for the rest of our days, as societies have marked extremely strict parameters throughout their existence regarding the manner, form, and timing in which it is appropriate and correct to unite with another soul to start walking life together. Thanks to these baseless social dictates, many have ended up succumbing to pressure and seem to be seeking love much more ardently, without understanding that this energy comes at the moment that is right for each soul. Like everything else we experience in our reality, romantic love is another manifestation of our internal states, which means that in order to receive it in our lives, the aspects of our being related to it must be perfectly aligned and in complete harmony. Love, although it may seem like a kind of cliché, is something that arrives on its own when the person is ready to receive it, and only the universe is capable of understanding when an individual has reached that point. So instead of rushing, it is essential to work on ourselves and allow everything to flow in the perfect way and in complete balance. And although this is something quite simple to understand, thousands of souls are still immersed in that desperate search for love and companionship, which instead of producing happiness in the being, ends up generating anguish, stress, and a sense of failure if we do not achieve the goal. But this is a problem that disappears in people who have aligned themselves with the frequencies of true love, as internally they will enjoy a kind of full and indescribable peace. Trying to talk about that feeling of profound tranquility, but many end up describing it as a sense of complete and absolute trust in the process, in universal energies, and of course, in the way our being will receive everything that corresponds to us in the perfect time. When we appreciate that we have set aside social pressures and seem to easily immerse ourselves in the idea that love arrives unexpectedly but accurately in our lives, that is when we are truly facing that precious moment of alignment with true love. So, if in the midst of this you find yourself getting to know someone who captivates your attention powerfully and with whom you feel the energies of love and affection flowing freely, what the universe may be telling you is that without the need for pressure, you may be reaching that crossroads where you encounter the person destined for your life, to then take their hand and journey together through this experience called life. If you find yourself easily entering into that sense of calmness and recognize that everything that has to happen will do so in perfection and harmony with the universe, it's highly likely that you are already in front of your true love. Number 3, loss of interest in unbeneficial partnerships. An important part of our personal growth is change, which often approaches without us feeling the profound transformation taking place within us. In this context, we must highlight that as the years go by and we develop our level of consciousness, our preferences seem to evolve from the most basic forms to align with the true forms of what is right. In this regard, we should observe how people in the early stages of romantic interest often choose any type of partner to establish a romantic relationship, gradually discovering what is neither suitable nor beneficial in the midst of a romantic partnership. Thanks to this, people progressively discover the points that need to be fulfilled in a partnership in order to experience fulfillment, and they also develop a clearer idea of what they aspire to in a romantic relationship. But not only that, But also, thanks to this same dynamic, we observe how we become more aware internally that there are people who, no matter how much we desire it, do not align with the needs and preferences we have when forming a romantic relationship. As this transformation takes place, our being seems to align better with the idea of true love, and almost without realizing it, we adopt a position where we prefer to discard opportunities and people rather than finding ourselves immersed in an unbeneficial relationship. From the depths of our being, we begin to experience that change in our vibration that puts us on a different frequency from many people, so in one way or another, we seem to reject them, and we feel no slightest inclination to interact with them more than usual. These internal changes represent significant variations in our energy, which make us begin to repel everything that is not in line with our new level of consciousness. This, in turn, has the opposite effect on those people who are on a similar frequency. In other words, while we push away people who do not vibrate like us, we attract others with the same level of development and commitment that we have on the subject. Thanks to this, we will see how the interest in starting relationships with certain people disappears completely, to the point that when we find ourselves in front of a possible partner who ignites the spark of emotional curiosity, it will be an isolated event that could be marking a sign from the universe. This could be the message we've been longing for, the one we've been waiting for a long time, and that confirms that indeed we are facing the potential love of our lives. Number 4. Repeated appearance of synchronicities. According to the work of the illustrious Dolores, synchronicities are nothing more than subtle messages from the universe, which seek to give approval or rejection to an event that is unfolding in your life, but more importantly, they can also be strong symptoms of certain phenomena inherent to our being along many stretches of our journey. In this sense, it is important to remember that each one of us who find ourselves in this realm is in constant interaction with the universe, so it may end up giving us clear signs of what is happening or coming our way. In the realm of love, this is also applicable, as one of the great signs that we are facing the beginning of an important emotional bond is the appearance of these winks from the universe, which we call synchronicities. But these will not be scattered signals. Rather, as we become closer emotionally and physically to that particular person, we will appreciate how the appearance of these synchronicities increases in frequency. As many already know, these synchronicities can appear in various forms, from the repeated visualization of a number or sign, to the perfectly orchestrated way in which an event aligns with our determinations or expressed desires. However, these are not limiting in the way these messages can appear in your life, as they can be so subtle that they end up being taken as mere coincidences. Understanding that coincidences do not exist, and in the face of the continuous appearance of these flashes from the universe, we must consider the idea that something very important is being foreshadowed in the midst of our life journey. Even an event like our encounter with that ideal partner can be announced by the universe, and it is up to each of us to appreciate the signs surrounding the event and understand the ways in which the universe communicates. Perhaps in the moment you met that special person, there were synchronicities such as the frequent appearance of images, announcements, and conversations referring to a specific place, or even after meeting that person and having something associated with their memory, you come across it repeatedly. For example, you may repeatedly see something that the person likes a lot, from a plant to a pet, or even constantly hear a song that reminds you of a moment lived with that person. All these are not mere coincidences, but rather a strong indication that the universe provides you about the importance of that person in your life, not only on a romantic level, but also ultimately marking a before and after in your spiritual development. Number 5. Instant recognition of the person. This point directly leads us to explore the knowledge presented by the illustrious Dolores in her various works, in which she spoke of how the bonds between souls do not fade over time. According to what this author exposes, each and every soul inhabiting the earth is responsible for designing the life experience it will have on this earthly plane. However, this planning is not just a sketch of what will be experienced. It goes so far as to arrange the connections and bonds we will have with other souls throughout our entire lives. It is worth noting that these bonds are undoubtedly of mutual benefit, where both souls are benefited. That is to say, each soul with which an encounter or connection has been arranged on this earthly plane brings to us an important lesson or an energy that will help us channel some specific aspect of our process. This is a bond that, according to this author, does not fade and can go beyond the limits of time and space. But above all, it will continue to take place in each new incarnation in the physical plane. When those two beings arrive on this physical plane, no matter how far apart they may be, they will end up unconsciously seeking each other and manifesting in each other's reality, because deep in their souls, they are aware of the task they have in each other's life and reality. According to this, two people may have shared an infinite number of experiences in their past incarnations, which are not erased from their memories, but rather stored at a much deeper level that only their soul has access to. However, even if we do not have that memory present consciously, from the moment our soul reunites with that other soul, it reacts physically to that familiar soul and strong connection. Many describe this as a moment of deep recognition of that other self, which occurs from the moment they come face to face with each other. This moment of recognition may be accompanied by a sense of familiarity, where we feel completely comfortable with that person and open up in trust instantly, as if we have known each other for a long time. According to this author, this can be a clear sign of an extraordinary relationship that our being may have had with that other soul, and that has been carried by us throughout our multiple incarnations. Number 6. Inner peace. Upon reaching this point, we realize that the popular phrase that has been emphasized throughout our lives about love is true, and that true love should provide peace. If it does not, it is a strong indication that we have not yet arrived at the right place for our soul and the development of our being. We must understand that romantic relationships are not only a bond established to enjoy companionship over time but go much further, speaking of deep connections, and a being that acts as a catalyst in our evolution. That so-called true love is synonymous with growth, pushing our being towards the things we must go through and overcome, and of course, providing unconditional support for our soul, understanding that just as that partner fulfills these functions in our life, we must provide the same for the other person's life. But not only that, finding that right person brings us a sense of fulfillment, where we understand that by their side, we can truly be ourselves, express ourselves freely, and let out the true personality that we often suppress in front of others for fear of not being accepted. True love not only provides companionship, but also support, evolution, affection, security, and trust, undoubtedly granting us inner peace. That is why, if we want to understand how true the bond is with that person, we must necessarily measure the level of peace they bring us, which transcends those moments of disagreement that can occur in any type of relationship. It is also important to observe if their presence in your life leads you towards evolution with love and understanding. This can be one of the clearest signs that the universe and our soul give us that the person we have doubts about, whether they hold an important place in our life and spiritual development. Another point we cannot overlook is that the presence of this person is healing for us, because with their arrival and the energy they emanate towards us, they allow us to confront with firmness those wounds of the past and traumas that affect us. It also allows us, with their love, to strengthen ourselves so that we can address those pending issues with ourselves and give them closure, thus becoming the best version of ourselves that we can be. This will relieve us of many burdens and free our being from energies that have been affecting us for a long time, making us feel again that desired inner peace that many speak of and few people actually enjoy. Achieving this in a person is synonymous with having found our true love. Number 7. Appearance of their person in our dreams. Something that no one can deny today is the fact that dreams are a wonderful window to contemplate other realms, beings and energies that come from them, as well as being the perfect channel through which the universe contacts us and gives us important information. This leads us to understand that more than a deep rest, this is the moment when our soul is freed from the weight of our physical body and unleashes its abilities. In this sense, it is important to highlight that this channel of communication between our soul and the universe and higher realms serves not only for us to receive information, but also to interact with other souls, whether they are in the same plane as us or belong to other realms. That is why it is not strange to encounter in our dreams people and beings that have a deep significance for us and are a crucial part of our development, both earthly and spiritual. So when we find ourselves in the midst of a dream and feel the arrival of a presence, we must consider it as an important event. This is undoubtedly one of the points we must take into consideration when evaluating the importance of that person we are incorporating into our lives who has been part of our history for a long time, so both souls recognize each other. In this regard, it is valuable to understand that we may not always see the physical image of the person in the midst of the dream, but their appearance may be represented by a presence that feels familiar, or we may even hear their voice in the midst of this elevated state we achieve through dreams. Some attribute this appearance to the sighting of objects belonging to this being in the midst of our dreams, and even objects or symbols that have deep meaning and are closely related to that person. Therefore, paying attention to every detail is crucial when evaluating whether the universe is presenting you through this medium with a sign of the importance of that person in your journey. It is extremely interesting to explore the testimonies of those who claim to have felt the repeated presence of their loved ones in the midst of their dreams, because there are certain people who claim to have even seen that special person before the first physical sighting took place. This leads us to explore the capacity of this state of rest in the realm of communication with universal energies and the soul. Moreover, we must bear in mind that this appearance will not be an isolated event, but a common factor is that the appearance of that presence is frequent and repeated over time, potentially increasing its pace as the moment of physical encounter approaches. Number 8. We let go of the past. One of the wonderful qualities of the beloved is that upon entering our lives, they allow us to access a new level of healing from their energy and presence, making it much easier for us to forgive and forget, thus leading us to improvement and personal growth. It is important to note that throughout our lives, many events may have marked us, and in one way or another, no matter how much we address them, we do not fully heal them, making it practically impossible for us to let them go. As a consequence, during our journey, the baggage we carry becomes heavier and heavier, reaching a point where it simply does not allow us to move forward anymore. Many completely refuse to accept that it is necessary to leave those events and the energies they bring with them in the past because they consider them as important parts of what they have become. Indeed, every experience brings an important lesson to our world, but this is not a reason to live clinging to them. Every time a complex situation arises before us, we must recognize the important lesson it brings at its core for us, but we must also be aware that keeping alive the feelings and wounds it may have generated only sets us back. To successfully break free from this cycle, it is vital to contemplate how we are left with no realm of action over those events, because everything that happened in the past had a reason and motivation, so it unfolded in the way it did. This means that there is no different way things could have been done, as that was how everything had to be configured to help us work through a part of ourselves. Our time is the present, and we can only have influence on what is happening now, so we must pay attention to the moment we are living, and not let memories of the past or illusions of the future distract us from the precious instant we are having, from which we can sow the seeds of what is desired. But this level of acceptance and elevation of our level of consciousness is not easy to achieve, And it requires hard internal work if we want to understand the importance of letting go. This is where the presence of that true love comes into play, which, as we have already explained, collaborates with all the processes that the person undergoes, and which also gives us a profound state of confidence in facing the things that are necessary to foster our personal growth. If the presence of that person about whom you have doubts brings you the need to let go of the past and everything that has happened in it in order to write your story with greater enthusiasm, undoubtedly you could have found that ideal person. Number 9. Confirmation from a person with abilities. In the midst of this search for a sign that tells our being that we are with the right person, many end up turning to individuals with extraordinary abilities, especially these so-called psychics who, with their elevated abilities, can foresee and confirm the appearance of that very important presence in our lives. It is not uncommon to see how over time many people have sought extraordinary channels for answers beyond the ordinary. And although many choose to see this as something false or as a complete waste of time, it is important to evaluate certain aspects of the beings we call psychics. In reality, there are individuals who have managed to align perfectly with the abilities of their being, from which they communicate with the universe and with beings that exist in higher dimensions than ours, who provide them with guidance and answers to their questions. But these psychics don't just use that gift for their own benefit. Rather, in the midst of their level of consciousness, they understand that one of the reasons they were bestowed with this particular gift is to bring light to humanity and serve as an effective channel to provide comfort to souls living in anguish. With love, compassion, and great integrity, those who truly possess this extraordinary ability feel a powerful calling to reach out to those souls experiencing strong concerns, as their mere presence is reassuring. Yet from the power bestowed upon them, they can even catalyze various aspects of others' lives. Amidst this, we must understand that even though matters of love are so particular, these individuals have the capacity to comprehend the impact of the encounter between those two souls, and how the arrival of this person can ultimately mark a key point in our journey. That's why many people, faced with this persistent doubt, choose to seek guidance from psychics, who, from the light that adorns them, can determine whether what you're experiencing is something deep and real, or simply an illusion of something better, one that might lead you astray from the path. So, if the doubt is extremely strong, you can seek help from one of these enlightened souls. Number 10. Prior knowledge. To conclude this journey, we must talk about that so-called prior knowledge, which paints a picture where our soul is already fully aware of the bond that connects us with that person, of that pact that both parties have made even before descending to earth, and that both honour in the midst of their earthly journey. This idea leads us to explore the experiences of past lives and the knowledge and interaction that two souls can have even before any type of interaction in the physical plane. For in the midst of that dimension where they gather to plan the type of human experience they will have, these souls are capable of interacting with each other and agreeing on strong bonds of cooperation and support. This idea goes hand in hand with the concept of soul contracts, expounded by the illustrious Dolores who explains that both souls can agree or contract a relationship of cooperation in which each party contributes the energy they possess for the growth of the other, helping each other overcome very specific issues and providing support on the earthly journey they will undertake. If we observe this closely, we can realize that it aligns perfectly with some of the principles that are present in the encounter with that true love, so that relationship could have been agreed upon even before we arrived on Earth for the first time. In this sense, it is crucial to understand that these souls possess an extremely high level of commitment, which goes so far as to unconsciously seek each other out in the space we inhabit. While we may not be aware of the agreements we have made, or with whom we have made them, this is information that our soul manages and leads us to navigate the correct paths and places, so that at a certain point, perfectly aligned with our process, we find that person. Each of these encounters is perfectly orchestrated and coordinated between our soul and the universe, so that both souls can connect in the physical realm and fulfill the promises made to each other. This prior knowledge can be felt within our consciousness as a sense that everything has arrived and will arrive at the perfect moment. Therefore, there is no need for despair, neither about timing nor about form, because deep within us there is full assurance that everything will align perfectly. When we encounter an individual who gives us the feeling of having arrived just at the right moment and who provides us with a peaceful space for our growth, we must undoubtedly understand that we are facing our true love. This is a wonderful experience, one that I would like you to tell me if you have already lived through. So please head to the comments section and let me know your experience on this topic. If you enjoyed our encounter today, please give this video a like. And if you want to explore more content like this, please don't hesitate to subscribe, because on this channel, everyone is welcome and we all seek to grow. Don't forget to share this with someone who may need to receive this knowledge to know if they are facing their true love. For now, it's time for us to say goodbye. We will meet again soon in this blessed space. In the meantime, I wish you success in the search for your true love.